Hi, welcome to part 2 of the video series of why clients don't change. In the previous video we looked at outcome resistance, particularly when we're talking about depressed or anxious clients, that a lot of times people won't change because they're kind of scared of the outcome in some way. They don't think they deserve it in some way. And as a result, they don't put forward the effort in the sessions to do anything about changing. So then in that situation, there's a resistance to the outcome, and obviously we need to make changes in that. But the first purpose of these videos is to just get you aware that these things are even out there. In this video, we're going to look at process resistance, because often there is resistance to the process of therapy itself. They don't want to do the work that's necessary to get the end result. So for example, when we're working with depressed clients, oftentimes they're gonna have a sense of hopelessness, that they've tried everything. They're at the point where they don't even try anymore because they failed so many times. So they have this belief that nothing will ever change. So why bother? What's the point? If I don't get my hopes up, I won't be disappointed. So although again they will volunteer for therapy because they think it's something they need to do, but there's this again sense of apathy as to it's not going to work. Why get my hopes up? And obviously when that's happening, it's going to be very, very difficult to get the client motivated enough to change. Then there's motivation paralysis itself. Like, I don't feel like doing any of the exercises. A lot of times I'll give clients things to do between the sessions, like either listening to audio recordings like MP3s, watching some videos with some specific techniques in, getting them to do that. I'll often task them with certain things they need to do between the sessions, but they just don't feel like doing anything like that. They have no motivation. So again, if you're setting these tasks for people and the MP3s, they may not do it. And again, this links to being overwhelmed. Sometimes people go, well, I just don't have the time to listen to it. Have you ever given a client an MP3 before? I said, I want you to listen to that between the sessions. And you come back and go, did you listen to the recording? Go, well, I listened to it once. So they often say that like the homework is too much. I don't have time to do it. I've got my job, I've got my kids, I've got this. I just don't have the time. Then there's a sense of entitlement. Some people think, I shouldn't have to work this hard. Why have I got to go through all this? Why have I got to do all this stuff? I shouldn't have to work this hard. It should be easier than this. Again, they're not going to do the work. Then there are some people who still ascribe to the medical model, particularly when we're talking about depression, but also anxiety as well. But this whole idea of it's the reason they're depressed, it's nothing to do with anything else. It's because they got a chemical imbalance in the brain. So what's the point about talking about this or doing all this, doing all these different therapies? The problem is I've got a chemical imbalance in the brain. And if they believe that, you're going to be butting your head with them. Then there's the counselling model. I thought all I had to do was talk about my problems and I would feel better. I just thought you'd be sitting here and talking about everything that's ever happened to me, and then somehow I would feel better. So there's a resistance to the process because we're not going to be doing anything like that. So they think, well, all I need to do is just talk. I need to offload and then I'll feel better. Good luck with that. So this can be the process resistance, particularly when it goes to depression. With anxiety, it's a little bit simpler. The process resistance is typically avoidance. They just don't want to face their fears. They absolutely believe that those things that are causing them anxiety are a real threat. So they don't want to face their fears. It will be dangerous. Don't make me think about these things. There must be an easier way. And again, if you start to do tasking with anxiety clients, I always think it's a good idea to get clients to start doing the very things that they've been avoiding. I'm not too big on the sort of CBT model and the exposure therapy thing, particularly under normal circumstances and the way it's normally taught. But eventually, they've got to do the things that they're avoiding. The person who's got a fear of flying has got to get on a plane. And they don't want to do this. They don't want to face those fears. They don't want to go into a social situation. They don't want to go in a plane. They don't. There's avoidance of it, and so they think there must be an easier way. And again, you have the medical model. Can't I just take a pill? I heard there was a pill like sertraline or something like that that would just get rid of my anxiety, and then I'd be fine. And so these sorts of things can interrupt the therapy. And when clients have things like this, and there's process resistance to the actual process of therapy, then you can run into problems because they're not really participating in the way they should. So we need to really work with the client, find out what the heck is going on. Because sometimes you'll be working with a client and you think, well, I'm doing all the right things, and doing all this sort of thing, nothing's happening. What's really going on? And it's either, as in the previous video, outcome resistance, or it's process resistance. And if you know what it is, then you can start working with them. And so obviously at this point, people will start probably, if you're watching this, well, okay, what do I do? How do I do this? Well, then again, that's what's going to be coming up in other videos. I want to keep these videos relatively short so you can watch them, get some ideas, because you've probably got techniques of your own that you can use with some of these things already. But if you don't know you have to deal with them, you're probably not going to make that connection. So it's a great idea to understand that sometimes if clients don't change, it's because of either outcome resistance or process resistance. And if you know what those are, you can start working on that and then get the client moving. So do some research on this, have a think about it. What could you do with these types of clients? In later videos, I will be talking about some of the techniques that you can use and methods you can use to get the client out of this into getting moving and solving their problems. But you almost certainly have techniques yourself, methods that you can use if you stop and think about it. The main thing is to be aware of the problem in the first place. So if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe. If you haven't already, check out the members section. There's hundreds of videos in on really advanced level hypnosis techniques and NLP techniques for a really low monthly fee. So have a look at those as well. Meantime, keep tuned in and watch out for more videos.